There's a multitude of different factors that come into play when you're trying to address your digestion. It could be the food that you're putting in, it could be lack of exercise, it could be the environment that you're being exposed to. But the idea is when we approach a problem, we want to do so from a holistic standpoint, not from a symptomatic one. So in today's video, I want to talk about how you can improve your digestion holistically. If you're new around here, my name is Mark, and this is a channel that is dedicated to lifestyle optimization, where we take tips and tricks from kind of the latest trends and we apply them in a way that is relevant to living a long and healthy life. If that's something you're into, then consider subscribing to the channel for all future content. So digestion is a multifaceted issue, and there really is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to addressing digestion. Mainly because there is so many different factors that could be playing a role into why someone might have inflammation in their gut. It could be a acidity issue that they're having within their stomach. It could be a digestive tract problem. There's so many variables that can play a part, but what I hope to provide in this video is some tools that I have found to improve my own digestion, as well as information that I've passed on to other people and they have seen success with as well. So the first technique that we're going to go over is a self-release technique. What a self-release technique is using some type of tool, whether that be your hands, it could be a lacrosse ball, a tennis ball, a stick of some sort, to offer some type of muscular or fascial release in your body. The intent is this release is going to bring new hydration and blood flow into a certain area of the body to hopefully impact the tissue in a positive way. Sometimes it's due to these restrictions within our tissues that can inhibit things like food, for example, to digest properly. So we're going to go to the ground for this one, and then I will walk you through it. So for this first technique, we are going to do a release of just the upper abdominals here. So if I were to suck in, you're going to be able to see the lower portion of my rib cage. And the idea is I'm going to take kind of this bony portion at the midpoint of my thumb, right in the middle there. And I'm going to try to apply pressure going up into that. And we're going to work on both sides, of course. And you may notice that one side is more sensitive than the other. That will be the side that I'm going to encourage you to prioritize and spend a little bit more time digging into. Typically, the place that you feel more density is going to be the place that you're going to have to spend more time in. And it also might take a little bit longer for that area to initially release as well. So how this is going to work is we're going to go onto our back here. I'm going to take my leg up. So whatever side I'm working on, that's the leg that's going to be up. So I'm going to work on my left side here. And then I'm just going to take my thumb, again, kind of taking that pointy part of my finger there. It's going to come down. And then my other hand, I'm going to just take on top right here. And then I'm just going to apply some pressure right into that. You're going to try as best as you can when you're going through that to soften the breath. Try not to breathe too heavy. You might notice that when you breathe into that point, you might have the sensation of wanting to go and really start breathing through the belly quite a bit. The reason for that is, well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for it, but I think anyway that one of the main reasons would be that's a point of anxiety. I think a lot of people tend to carry anxiety in here, and typically inflammation gets attracted to points of anxiety in our body. So if you can, try to slow the breathing down as much as you can. Think about taking about a 4-second inhalation to about a 6-second exhalation, and then just softly working on that when you're on your back there. And you'll spend about 2 to 3 minutes, I would say, on each side at a minimum. You might have to spend more, depending. But that is going to be a great introduction to start to release some of the toxins and stuff that tend to reside around this area for the first technique. So let's get into the second technique. The second technique to improve your digestion is to fast, whether that be a 24-hour fast, a 48, even a 72-hour fast. I would recommend trying to take multiple days in a row if you can. At minimum, I would say 1, to just eliminate all intake of food. It's likely that if you're dealing with some type of digestive problem, it may be that you've actually never given your digestion a break from eating, so it's consistently digesting. And this consistent digestion can lead to a host of different problems. So giving your body kind of that reset and taking that time to just let the body go through its own cleansing mechanism tends to be very favorable for reducing inflammation, which then leads to an overall improvement in your digestion. If this is your first time fasting, I would suggest starting with 24 hours, maybe not jump into a extended fast, or you can even experiment with intermittent fasting as well, where you go through kind of like a 16-hour window where you are not eating, and then an 8-hour window where you are. And then once you can start to shorten that window, so say you can go 20 hours without eating and you only have a 4-hour window, now your body is starting to get used to the fasting cycle, and then you can start to segment more regulated fasting, say every quarter, for example. Intermittent fasting is something that I have played around with quite a bit. It's not something that I believe to be sustainable long term, just based on my own body type. Again, some people might find it different, but for me, I find doing just chunked fasts about every quarter to be optimal for myself. The third technique to improving your digestion is something that you can do to immediately follow up your fast, and that is to introduce nutrient-dense foods. So first and foremost, the first thing that you put back into your body following a fast is going to be paramount. It's going to be really important that that food kind of kickstarts the whole system, and it's something that is going to sustain good energy and good overall nourishment throughout the whole body. Quite simply, just try not to eat something that is crap for you immediately following the fast. Don't just pound a bunch of sugar, have a sugary drink, for example, or have a bag of chips or some candies or something like that. You need something that actually has some density to it. One of my personal favorites is to have a type of bone broth, whether that be a beef broth, a chicken broth. Having something like that is a really nice slow introduction of very nutrient dense liquid back into the system. Following that, I'm typically going to have a small meal initially, just to kind of allow my stomach and my intestinal tract to begin to expand, and then I'll finish that off with a bigger meal. The first meal, as an example, might be bone broth with sausage links with some root vegetables, for example. That would be kind of not necessarily my go-to meal, but that would be an example of the first meal that I might have following a 48 or 72-hour fast. Once I let that digest, I'm then going to have a bigger meal. Usually this is going to entail some type of animal meat, typically quite a dense protein. That could be like an elk steak, it could be just a steak in general from like a beef steak, it could be bison, something that is going to be very enriching to my body. I might have that again with some root vegetables as well as some carbohydrates, just to start to get the entire system going again. I find that if I can kind of slowly introduce those healthy foods back into my diet, not only am I gaining a good habit of the reintroduction of food, but I'm also nourishing my body on a very deep level. Because my body has been deprived of nutrients and it's kind of eating up all the remainders over the course that I've been fasting, it's important that I start to reintroduce the essential minerals, vitamins, and things of that nature that are important to revitalize my system. Now all you have to do is try to stay consistent with that somewhat. There can obviously be days where you cheat and you have, some sugar, you might have some grains that might not be so good for you. But the idea is for a majority of the time, you're eating the foods that are going to benefit you. Anyways, that's all for today's video. I hope you guys found it useful and helpful in some way. Let me know if you did down in the comments below. And also let me know if there's any content that you would like to see around just lifestyle optimization in the future, as I am always looking for new content to film. As always, if you did find this information helpful, don't be afraid to like, subscribe, and also share with people who you think would enjoy content like this or might find value in it. That just helps to bring more like-minded individuals like yourself to the platform. Until next time, I hope you guys are prioritizing and then you are optimizing.